Ooh, ooh, happy Halloween, everybody, Jeffrey Martel here, and I have come from beyond the grave to do a live video on World of Tanks. Did I get any of you? Uh, well, anyway, I'm doing happy Halloween, all ya, everybody. That's right. I'm doing a live video. I'm doing a live video on World of Tanks on Halloween, All Hallows Eve. That's good. Yeah, it takes a while to do this. Oh, please wait. And in the meantime, between each battle, I thought I'd tell you all ghost stories. Nice. Hmm. Oh. Way to go. The Command Express. Command Express. To there. For your performance on the battlefield completing 250 battles. Way to go, the Command. Jeffrey. Congratulate you. Express their gratitude and congratulate you for achieving 100 victories. Let me fix the screen. That board is a C. I like that one better. There we go. Oh. too tall. Let me fix that. Just a tad. A little too wide over here. Okay, I think I got it. Anyway. That's all I want. Look at the tank. Safe. Let's see what this one is. Video review update. Let's see what this is all about.
Update 1.2 features several important changes. Here's a quick overview. Rebalance preferential premium tanks. Empire's Border, a new map set in Asia. Highway and Wide Park return in HD quality. Balance changes to 5 other maps. The launch of the third part of new personal missions. Now let's get down to details. Preferential premiums have been one of the hottest topics among the community. To better understand current changes and steps moving forward, we must go back. Prior to update 9.18, the matchmaker's task was to form teams as quickly as possible. Quickness was a crucial factor. After 9.18, templates were introduced. These were a 3-5-7 formation, where a tank could appear at the top, in the middle, or at the bottom of the list. A 5-10 format, with a chance to be in one of the 2 tiers present. Simply a 1-tier battle. These templates were designed to form balanced teams. The key advantage of preferential premiums is that they never take on enemies 2 tiers higher. However, it turns out that for most battles, they were battling their tier mates or higher. This was an issue as preferential premiums were designed to have lower overall combat effectiveness than their tier mates. While they were designed like this to account for their preferential matchmaking status as they don't see tier 10, over time these tanks have become less and less competitive. Our first instinct was to remove the preferential status completely and improve these tanks' combat effectiveness by leveling them against regular Tier 8 vehicles. We tested this approach with the KV-5, but soon discovered that the preferential status was critical for players. After this, we went back to the drawing board and worked on a new plan. Let's get into it. This is a 2-part plan that includes improving preferential vehicles and an in-depth rework of the matchmaker. Improving the characteristics of the preferential premiums took place internally over 3 stages. The first stage was all about narrowing the gap of combat effectiveness between the preferential tanks. After all, they all have their own playstyles, so each vehicle underwent unique adjustments. Throughout the entire process, we had one primary goal. The unique gameplay style of each vehicle must be preserved. The second stage focused on improving the efficiency of preferential premiums and adjusting their characteristics to make them more effective with their non-preferential tier mates. We then analyzed the impact of our changes on vehicles' performance. After much testing, we reached our desired outcome for these special vehicles. In battles with Tier 8 and 9 tanks, the reworked preferential tanks came close to performing like premium vehicles without preferential status. The third stage was short but sweet, so you could get into battle quicker. It was all about fine-tuning specs and polishing the changes made. As it stands, we're through the first part and ready to proceed with the improvements to the matchmaker, which we're actively working on. But if you roll out with your preferential premiums right now, you'll notice the difference. You can also find detailed information on each of these vehicles' changes on the portal right now. As for the matchmaker improvements, we'll be releasing another video detailing those changes soon, so stay tuned. The new Empire's Border map makes its debut in Update 1.2. On this map, players in Tier 4 or higher vehicles fight for victory against the backdrop of the Great Wall of China. In addition to standard battles, it will host assault and encounter combat. Empire's Border is a large map encouraging complex tactical maneuvers. Heavies will want to head towards the map's southwest area, while tank destroyers will feel right at home on both flanks, finding plenty of places to cover allies. The shelter and cover of the center and northeast areas of the map will benefit light and medium tanks, with faster vehicles having the opportunity to break through enemy lines and change the course of battle. Alongside the new map, Wide Park and Highway maps return after being reworked in HD. Tiers 4 through 6 will battle it out on Wide Park, while Highway plays host to vehicles of Tier 4 and higher. But fans of these maps needn't worry. While their appearance has been overhauled, the gameplay remains the same. These reworked HD maps are stunning to look at, but let's talk about the rebalancing on other maps. And maps, we're also ready to roll out the third part of personal missions. This new set of missions offers the monstrous Object 279 early for those that prove their mettle, plus plenty of credits and other goodies along the way. As part of the new operation, there are 3 types of task. The first require fulfilling conditions through a series of battles. The second allows several attempts, while the third track your progress across multiple battles. You'll also find an option to pause your progress if you need a break. Your battle results won't be counted again until you choose to restart your progress. Want the Tier 10 Object 279 early in your garage? Then roll out into battle and show what you are capable of. Good luck.
Not bad, actually. Next. Alright, tanks with preferential matchmaking. With update 1.2, the following free vehicles are improved so they are more competitive in game. map, Empire's Quarter. You probably heard about this map from Chinese sources. Empire's Quarter received a warm welcome and positive feedback from its home audience, so we've included it in the roster for all regions. Empire Quarter is the first Asia set locale to join the game's release of Update 1.0, featuring what many consider the eighth wonder of the world. The map is sliced into two halves by the Great Wall of China. The entire locale is split into several altitudes, each operate its own level of tactical versatility. The Object 279 is leading. I didn't think a tank like this ever existed. After the first and second phase of the new campaign of personal missions, where you can earn the Excalibur tank destroyer and Chimera medium tank, the final vehicle is finally up for grabs. The Object 279 early as the first vehicle in World of Tanks with 4 separate tracks. This Soviet Tier X definitely plays differently than its brethren. The final set of personal missions are only available after finishing the 2 preceding ones, and the mission requirements are a mix of those from the first and the second of the missions. Difficult objects that need to be completed multiple times. Good luck, Commander. Thank you. Thank you, Mom. Sorry. Okay. Right now in the MT, and right now the theme is Dark Front. And let's see what Dark Front is about. Be right back. Now what? It's not working. What is it, this thing? What is... Weird. And I still got no video. I can see the screen, but I see nothing. Got it working. At last. There we go. Got it. Now it's fine. Now let's find out this. A secret base was discovered on Nebelburg, and some sort of green matter is permeating the air, emitting an energy no one has ever seen before. Upon investigation, we discovered a portal to another world. As our energy reading meters got closer to the gateway, the signals grew stronger. Something is in there and is trying to break into our world. The first mission to venture inside the gate wasn't so successful, and we messed up by tangling with these dark forces. Your job, if you choose to accept it, that would be me, is to go in, take all the green matter you can, and get out, so we can close this gateway for good.
Our invention will change everything. We are on the eve of a great discovery. In a few seconds. The first expedition. Something's not right. We're losing contact. We're losing tanks! It's the fog!
Dark Runners, prepare for action. World of Tanks, Dark Front, light it up.
I will. Now let's see this one. This is the details of the mission. Mission overview is from October 18th to November 4th. Vehicle, the Revnant. Map, Nebelburg. Objectives, destroy sinister tanks, collect the green matter, and replenish your vault. Rewards, free experience, credits, and special Halloween camo. We found a greenish mist that emits energy, and we're opening a portal to another world in Nebelburg, in hope to find stocks of the resources. Scientists are building a huge reactor able to accumulate the green matter. This strange substance featured an almost endless source of energy.
In October, evil forces are bringing mayhem to Earth. And throughout November, too. Tankers, the best of the best. Actually, all tankers will have a great time and earn heaps of credits and XP. Just before Halloween, the Dark Front will open in World of Tanks. A portal to another world is available to groups of 5. If you want, you can play as a random team, or you can gather a platoon of 5 friends. Your mission is to collect as much green matter as possible. It looks like this. You can find green matter 3 different ways. First, lying on the ground. Second, on fallen enemies. There are plenty of seemingly wrecked tanks here. Beware. Get too close to them, some will come back to life and try to destroy you. Take them out, then take your loot. Important point. The bar above the enemy is the number of penetrating shots required to destroy them. 1 segment means 1 penetrating shot. The more powerful the enemy, the more green matter they'll drop. The third source is essences. They appear randomly on the map. They contain either a lot of green matter or an anomaly. Anomalies change the vehicle characteristics. They can be different. They can either help, for example, boost your gun reload speed, or, on the contrary, cause you trouble. Sometimes anomalies get activated spontaneously. Even if you don't pick up any essences, your vehicle will just suddenly change. If your tank is destroyed, it will respawn. But remember, all collected green matter will be lost. To avoid this, you need to deliver it to the vault on your base. This is the only way it will be credited to your team score. Vehicles can also restore their hit points on the base. Green matter is credited to players after the battle. Each player will receive as much as the whole team has collected. But there are exceptions. Ineffective players will get nothing. The more green matter you have, the higher your level of bonus will be. And the higher the level of bonus is, the bigger the multiplier for combat experience and credits you'll get in any mode for every battle. After reaching the top, level 13, you'll receive 50% more combat experience and credits, and as much as 200% more free experience. Additionally, you'll receive a unique style, an emblem, and a badge. Only one level of bonus is available at first. A new mission for getting to the next level will unlock every day. There's also a way to reach the 13th level of bonus on any day of the event, even on the very first one. Take advantage of our special offer. Its price will come down every day. There are so many tankers taking on the evil forces that the queue for the Dark Portal may take up to several minutes, but it's worth it. And now, let's go. Fight on the Dark Front. Defeat the evil forces. Use that XP boost for vehicles you've longed for.
Nice. Good information. Now I know what to do. Normally I go with no. Well, normally I said I'm gonna tell a story. I would tell a ghost story, but I'll start with the battle first, since I know and I don't want to get sidetracked. Don't forget, I will tell a ghost story after each battle. Now what? I'm gonna tell ongoing special events. Let's see what this is about. Ongoing special event, the PZK KPFM 4 search Panther 4 to the right to current. kinds of sinister enemies like demon enemy, all for support, then turn to active battle. Standing still, dealing with the matches are also available as a special dedicated style. We are in depth part. Don't be scared. Who's scared? Nah, just kidding. KB2R and VRG1 be more Mordian style. Offers last till November 4th. KB2R 40,000 player. Rapid round KB2. More information online, but I'm not gonna go there. I'm going straight to the battle. Here we go. Wish me luck. Wait. Ah, never mind. Okay, wish me luck, guys. Going in. Destroy the undead, collect green matter. If your vehicle is destroyed, green matter is carried. Deliver the collected green matter to the base before your vehicle is destroyed. Let's tank on and roll out. I got 7 minutes. Oh. Tap. Oh. Darn. Oh wait, I found something. Got it. That's good. There. Ah. Oh. Okay. I got enough now. 5 minutes. I'm going around this way. Man, I missed the minimap that used to be right there. I need to get some repairs. Drop all my in. Alright, number 3. Let's get down. Let's go collect some more. Wait. No, I can't. to get out of the way. Heroes never die. Phew! I lost all the green. I lost whatever green matter I had. 3? I dropped all 3. Get you for this. Oop! Ah. Crap. I guess I'm a little rusty. It's been a while since I've played this. Got him! Hey, that was mine! That was my kill! That was mine! That tank. Thanks for the help! I wish there was a tracker on. Oh. That's 30 seconds. I don't think I'll find one in time. Oh, they can be around. Can't see any. 20 seconds left. One. Let me get this one. Let me get back. End the battle. Total green matter delivered, 191. Green delivered, 191. Wow, I did have more than I could have. I need about 400 in order to get to level 1. As I promised. It's ghost story time. Now this is a Japanese urban legend. called 8 feet tall, or Hakishakusama. It's a Japanese urban legend about a tall woman who abducts children. She's 8 feet tall, wears a long white dress, and makes a sound like po, 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 but in a very deep voice. She's Japan's version of the Slender Man. And this story comes from some who experienced her firsthand. I'm gonna tell you as I gobble up all this candy I stole from trick-or-treaters. Ah! How many did you thought I stole it? No, this is candy I gave out. But anyway, okay, here's the story. My grandparents lived in Japan. Every summer, my parents would take me there on holiday to visit them. They lived in a small village and had a big backyard. I loved to play there during the summer. When we arrived, my grandparents always welcomed me with open arms. I was their only grandchild, so they spoiled me. The last time I saw them was the summer when I was 8 years old. As usual, my parents booked a flight to Japan and we drove from the airport to my grandparents' house. They were delighted to see me and had a lot of little presents to give me. My parents wanted to have some time by themselves, so after a few days they took a trip to another part of Japan, leaving me in the care of my grandma and grandpa. One day I was playing out in the backyard. My grandparents were inside the house. It was a hot summer's day and I lay down on the grass to rest. I stared up at the clouds and enjoyed the feeling of the soft rays of the sun and the gentle breeze. Just as I was about to get up, I heard a strange sound. Po, 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 po. I didn't know what it was, and it was hard to figure out where it was coming from. It sounded almost like somebody was making the noise themselves, as if they were just saying po, 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 over and over again in a deep masculine voice. I was looking around searching for the source of the noise when I suddenly noticed something on top of the tall hedges that enclosed the backyard. It was a straw hat. It wasn't resting on the hedge. It was behind it. That's where the sound was coming from. Po, 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 po. Then the hat began to move, as if someone was wearing it. The hat stopped at a small gap in the hedge, and I could see a face peering through. It was a woman, but the hedges were high, almost 8 feet tall. I was surprised at how tall the woman was. I wondered if she was wearing stilts or some sort of huge high-heeled shoes. Then a split second later, she walked off and the strange noise disappeared with her, fading into the distance. Bewildered, I got up and wandered back into the house. My grandparents were in the kitchen drinking tea. I sat down at the table, and after a while, I told my grandparents what I had seen. They weren't really paying attention to me until I mentioned that distinctive sound. Po, 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 po. Good candy. Anyway, where was I? Oh yeah. As soon as I said that, both of them suddenly froze. Suddenly froze. My grandma's eyes grew wide, and she covered her mouth with her hand. Grandpa's face became very serious, and he grabbed me by the arm. "This is very important," he said in an intense voice. "You must tell us exactly. How tall was she?" "As tall as the garden hedge," I replied, beginning to get scared. My grand my grandfather bombarded me with questions. Where was she standing? Where was she standing? When did this happen? What did you do? Did she see you? I tried to answer all his questions as best I could. He suddenly rushed out the hallway and made a phone call. I couldn't hear what he was saying. I looked over at my grandma, and she was trembling. Grandpa came barging back into the room and spoke to my grandmother. I've got to go out for a while, he said. You stay here with the child. Don't take your eyes off him for a second. Is the child really a boy or girl? I can't tell. Anyway. What's going on, Grandpa? I cried. He looked at me with a sad expression in his eyes and said, You've been liked by Hachisaku-sama. With that, he hurried out, got into his truck, and drove off. I turned to my grandmother and cautiously asked, Who's Hachisaku-sama? Don't worry, she replied in a shaking voice. Grandpa will do something. There's no need for you to worry. As I sat nervously in the kitchen waiting for my grandpa to come back, she explained what was happening. She told me there was a dangerous thing that was haunting the area. They called it Hachisaku-sama because of its height. In Japanese, Hachisaku-sama means 8 feet tall. It takes on the appearance of an extremely tall woman and makes a sound like po, po, po in a deep male voice. It appears slightly differently depending on who sees it. Some say it looks like a haggard old woman in a kimono, and others say it is a girl in a white funeral shroud. One thing that never changes is its height and the sound it makes. Anyway. A long time ago, it was captured by monks, and they managed to confine it in a ruined temple on the outskirts of a village. They trapped it using 4 religious statues called Jizos that they placed at the north, south, east, and west of the ruins, and it was supposed to be able to move from there. And it wasn't supposed to be able to move from there. Somehow it managed to escape. The last time it appeared was 15 years ago. My grandmother said that anyone who saw 8 feet tall was destined to die within a few days. It all sounded so crazy, I wasn't sure what to believe. When Grandpa came back, there was an old woman with him. She introduced herself as Kei-san and handed me a small crumpled piece of parchment, saying, Here, take this and hold it. Then she and Grandpa went upstairs to do something. I was left alone in the kitchen with my grandmother again. I needed to go to the toilet. Granny followed me to the bathroom and wouldn't let me shut the door. I was beginning to get really frightened by all this. After a while, Grandpa and Kei-san took me upstairs and brought me into my bedroom. The windows were covered in newspaper, and lots of ancient runes had been written on them. There were small bowls of salt in all 4 corners of the room, and a small Buddha figure placed at the center of the room on top of a wooden box. There was also a bright blue bucket. What's the bucket for? I asked. That's for your pee and poop, Grandpa replied. Kei-san sat me down on the bed and said, Soon the sun will be setting, so listen carefully. You must stay in this room until tomorrow morning. You must not come out under any circumstances until 7 o'clock tomorrow morning. Your grandmother and your grandfather will not speak to you or call you until then. Remember, do not leave the room for any reason until then.
I will let your parents know what is going on. She spoke in such a grave tone that all I could do was quietly nod my head. You have to follow Kei-san's instructions to the letter, Grandpa told me, and never let go of the parchment she gave you. And if anything happens, pray to the Buddha. And make sure you lock this door when we leave. They walked down into the hallway, and after saying goodbye to them, I closed the bedroom door and locked it. I turned on the TV and tried to watch, but I was so nervous I felt sick to my stomach. Grandma had left some snacks and rice balls for me, but I couldn't eat them. I felt like I was in prison, and I was very depressed and scared. I lay down on the bed and waited. Before I knew it, I was asleep. When I woke up, it was just after 1 a.m. All of a sudden, I realized that something was tapping on the window. If you didn't hear, that was tap, 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 tap. I felt the blood draining from my face and my heart skipped a beat. I desperately tried to calm myself down, telling myself it was just the wind playing tricks or maybe the branches of a tree. I turned up the volume on the TV to drown out the tapping noise. Eventually, it stopped altogether. That was when I heard Grandpa calling me. "Are you okay in there?" he asked. "If you're scared, you don't have to stay in there all alone. I can come in and keep you company." I smiled and rushed over to open the door, but then I stopped in my tracks. I had goosebumps all over my body. It sounded like Grandpa's voice, but somehow it was different. I couldn't tell what it was, but I just knew. "What are you doing?" Grandpa asked. "You can open the door now." I glanced to my left and a chill went down my spine. The salt in the bowls was slowly turning black. I backed away from the door. My whole body was trembling with fear. I fell to my knees in front of the Buddha statue and clutched the piece of parchment tightly in my hand. I started desperately praying for help. "Please save me from Hachisaku-sama," I wailed. Then I heard the voice outside the door saying, "Po, po, 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 po." The tapping on the window started up again. I was overcome by fear, and I crouched there in front of the statue, half crying and half praying for the rest of the night. I felt like I felt like it would never end, but eventually it was morning. The salt in all 4 bowls was pitch black. I checked my watch. It was 7:30 a.m. I cautiously opened the door. Grandma and Kei-san were standing outside waiting for me. When she saw my face, Grandma burst into tears. "I'm so glad you're still alive," she said. I went downstairs and was surprised to see my father and mother sitting in the kitchen. Grandpa came in and said, "Hurry up. We've got to get going." We went to the front door, and there was a large black van waiting in the driveway. Several men from the village were standing around it, pointing at me and whispering, "That's the boy." The van was a 9-seater, and they put me in the middle, surrounded by 8 men. Kei-san was in the driver's seat. The man on my left looked down at me and said, "You've got yourself in quite a spot of trouble. I know you're probably worried. Just keep your head down and your eyes shut. We can't see it, but you can. Don't open your eyes until we've got you safely out of here." Grandpa drove in front, and my dad's car was following behind. When everyone was ready, our little convoy was starting. Our little convoy started moving. We were going fairly slow, around 20 kilometers an hour, or maybe less. After a while, Kason said, "This is where it gets hard," and started muttering a prayer under her breath. That was when I heard the voice. "Poo, poo, 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 poo." I clutched the parchment Kason had given me tightly in my hand. I kept my head down, but I peeked outside. I saw a white dress fluttering in the breeze. It was moving along with the van. It was Hachishako-sama. She was outside the window, but she was keeping pace with us. Then suddenly she bent down and peered into the van. "No," I gasped. The man beside me shouted, "Close your eyes!" I immediately shut my eyes as hard as I could and tightened my grip on the piece of parchment. Then the tapping began. Tap, 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 tap. The voice became louder. "Po, po, 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 po." There was tapping on the window all around us. All of the men in the van were startled up and on the edge, muttering nervously to themselves. They couldn't see 8 feet tall, and they couldn't hear her voice, but they could hear her tapping on the windows. Kason started praying louder and louder until she was almost shouting. The tension inside the van was unbearable. After a while, the tapping sound stopped, and the voice disappeared. Kason looked back at us and said, "I think we're safe now." All of the men around me breathed a sigh of relief. The van pulled over to the side of the road, and the men got out. They transferred me into my dad's car. My mother held me close, and tears were running down her cheek. Grandpa and my father bowed to the men, and they went on their way. Kason came to the window and asked me to show her the piece of parchment she had given me. When I opened my hand, I saw that it had gone completely black. I think you will be okay now," she said. "But just to be sure, hold on to this for a while." She handed me a new piece of parchment. After that, we drove straight to the airport, and Grandpa saw us safely on the plane. When we took off, my parents breathed a sigh of relief. My father told me he had heard about 8 feet tall before. Years ago, his friend had been liked by her. His friend had been liked by her. The boy disappeared and was never seen again. My father said there were other people who had been liked by her and lived to tell about it. They all had to leave Japan and settle down in foreign countries. They were never able to go back to their homeland. She always chooses children as her victims. They say it's because children are dependent on their parents and family members. This makes them easier to deceive when she poses as their relatives. He said the men in the van were all blood relatives of mine, and that's why they had been sitting all around me, and why my father and Grandpa had been driving in front and in back. It was all done to try to confuse Hachishako-sama. It took a while to contact everyone and get them all together, so that was why I had to be confined in a room all night. He told me that one of the little Jizo statues, the one that were meant to keep her trapped, had been broken, and that was how she escaped. It gave me the chills. I was glad when we finally got back home. All of this happened more than 10 years ago. I hadn't seen my grandparents since then. I haven't been able to do so much as set foot in the country afterwards. I would call them every few weeks and talk to them on the phone. Over the years, I tried to convince myself that it was just an urban legend, that everything had happened was just some elaborate prank, but sometimes I'm not so sure. My grandfather died 2 years ago when he was sick. He wouldn't allow me to visit him, and he left strict instructions in his will that I wasn't to attend his funeral. It was all very sad. My grandmother called a few days ago. She said that she had been diagnosed with cancer. She missed me terribly and wanted to see me one last time before she died. Are you sure, Grandma? I asked. Is it safe? It's been 10 years, she said. All that happened a long time ago. It's all forgotten. You're all grown up now. I'm sure there won't be a problem. But what about Hachisaku-sama? I said. For a moment there was silence on the other end of the phone. Then I heard a deep masculine voice saying, "Po, po, 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 po." What do you think? Did this story give you the chills? So if you're and it targets, I think it targets any children. Targets any children. Not just ones born in Japan. So if you're a child, so this message is urgent. If you're a child and you live in Japan or going to visit Japan, beware of Hachisaku-sama. And if she do whatever you have to keep yourself from her grasp. And if she targets you, best you don't come back at all to Japan ever again. Or at least until you're adult. Sorry. Hold on. Gotta clean up a little mess. Yeah. Hang on. Wow. I didn't realize how fast time flowed. Alright. Now let's try this battle again. Let's get ready. Here we go. All right, tankers, let's tank on and roll out. Oops. Sorry. Better in numbers. I have a feeling that's okay, good.
2 have been activated. And I almost won them. We got 4, so that's hopefully it could be the first. Wait, what's that? See if it can be the first one. Oh, so well, at least I'm the second. Looks like he needs help. I guess not. Oh, that was close. Ooh! Looks like we lost another one. There. Oh, 3! Yeah! Got one. Trying to take those 2. Tied. 3 in. Yeah, baby. One more. Got him. Barely. Wait, what's that? 2 more been activated. Down there. I have everything. Sorry I said that. I have everything here. Yep, I was right. Oh man, retreat! I think I got enough. Wish I had some kind of shield. 7 is the most I collect this. I mean my own record of 3 or 4. Personal record, that is. No, I'll play it. I'm gonna play this until at least midnight. Max. 2 minutes left. I deliver 7. Now it's time to try and get up there. You know, I would personally wish they make a little... I know they've been cars, planes, Disney movies. I just wish they make one off this. Military vehicles. What the heck did I hit? It's a small explosive. Like a barrel. I got a little bit of trouble. Okay, all 4 of them are dead. Well, this one. This one too. Okay, left. Don't try us at home, kids! Geronimo! That didn't go away. Five, 4, 3, 2, 146. A little less than what we got last time. Everyone wins. Nice. Next legend. Yep. La Llorona. In Mexican folklore, La Llorona, La Llorona, the weeping woman, is a ghost of a woman who lost her children and now cries while looking for them in the river, often causing misfortune to those who are near or who hear her. There is no credible source or evidence to the events that inspired the tale legend of La Llorona. But if there is, I can't imagine how that will go down. The legend is said that in a rural village there lived a young woman named Maria. Maria came from a poor family, but was known around her village for her beauty. One day, an extremely wealthy nobleman traveled through her village. He stopped in his tracks when he saw Maria. Maria was charmed by him, and he was charmed by her beauty. So when he proposed to her, she immediately accepted. Maria's family was thrilled that she was marrying into a wealthy family. Yeah. Yeah. It's not about wealth, it's about who they are on the inside that counts. But the nobleman's father was extremely disappointed that his son was marrying into poverty. Maria and her new husband built a house in the village to be away from his disapproving father. Eventually, Maria gave birth to twins, a boy and a girl. Excuse me. Her husband was always traveling and stopped spending time with his family. When he came home, he only paid attention to the children, and Maria knew her husband was falling out of love with her. It's messed up. One day he left and never returned. Years later, as Maria and her twins were walking by a river, she saw a familiar carriage with a younger, beautiful woman next to her husband. Maria was so angry and confused that, without thinking, she picked up her 2 children and threw them into the river, drowning them. Only after she saw their bodies floating in the river did she realize what she had done, and she then jumped into the river, hoping to die with her children. Now she spends eternity looking for her children around that river. It is said that if you hear her crying, you are to run the opposite way. If you hear her cries, they could bring misfortune or even death. Many parents in Mexico and Guatemala use this story to scare their children from staying out too late. Messed up. At the gates of heaven, she was challenged over the whereabouts of her children and not permitted to enter the afterlife until she found them.
Lorena is forced to wander the earth for all eternity, searching in vain for her drowned offspring. She constantly weeps, hence her name, Lorana. She is caught between the living world and the spirit world. In some versions of the tale, La Llorona kidnaps wandering children who resemble her missing children, asks them for forgiveness, then kills them to take the place of her own. People who claim to have seen her say she appears at night or in the late evening by rivers or lakes. Some believe those who hear the wails of La Llorona are marked for death, but those who escape in time are not, as in the Gaelic Banshee legend. Amongst her wails, she is noted as crying, "I miss Hales," which translate to, "Oh, my children." I can't speak Spanish that well. In the Guatemalan version of the legend, it is said that when her wail sounds near, she is actually far. When she sounds distant, she is actually very near. So that's actually very confusing if you ask me. It should be noted that the folklore will vary depending on the location, as it is not specific to any one region and is known throughout numerous Latin American countries. The legend of La Llorona persists in areas where mountain lions are active. The Upload Field Guide to North American Mammals noted that the mountain lion's blood-curdling mating call has been likened to a woman's scream. And get this. There's even gonna... And get this. The Curse of the Weeping Woman is an upcoming American supernatural horror film directed by Michael and written by Mickey Dontre and Tobias. It stars Linda Cardillian, Raymond Cruz, and Patricia Velasquez. James Wong is serving as a producer through his Atomic Monster Productions banner. The film, which was released entitled The Children, is scheduled to be released on April 19, 2019 by Warner Brothers Picture New Line Cinema. They actually made a movie on the Weeping Woman. Okay, she's good. Ooh, here's the plot of the movie. When Ana Garcia, a social worker and widow, raising her two kids in 1973, Los Angeles, is called to check in on one of her cases, she finds signs of foul play. As she digs deeper, she finds striking similarities between the case and the terrifying supernatural occurrences haunting her family. Enlisting the help of a local faith healer, she discovers that Llorona has hatched herself onto Ana and will stop at nothing to take her children. La Llorona, which is also called as the Weeping Woman, is a female ghost in Mexican folklore who lost her children and causes misfortune to those nearby. As she searches for them, she takes other lost children, making them her own. Ana turns to mysticism with the help of delusion priests to fight the evil entity. So tell me, would you go see that movie if it came out? Let me know in the comments. Anyway.
All right. All right. Battle. Now the next battle. Battle number 3. Go. All right, tankers, let's tank on and roll out. Oh boy. What the? Where'd he go? Where is he? I see him. Is that him? Yep, that's him. On the way. Oh boy. I better go. Got one. Where'd he go? Oh man. Wait. Ow. Lucky thing that doesn't damage me, unlike the other tanks it would. There. Got him. Let's move out. They can't handle 2 against 1. I got 9. Better work as a team. I thought it was done for. Oh. I need to get out. I can't lose them all. Where is it? Oh, crud. I am running. Ah! No! I lost 12! 15. I lost 15. I collected 15. I lost them all. Anyone? Oop! Lucky that that doesn't do any damage. I had 15, so that doesn't count. Make it. 13. There's. Fine. No, I'm not gonna make it. No! Oh! Dang it. So close. Man, way less than last time. no surprise there. Hang on, I can get my sniper. I got one. You're welcome. Alright, teammates, let's stick together. One distracts. One collects, one distracts. Okay, looks like all of us are here. I'm on the other side. There's another one. Heck, at least the shots don't do that much. It's lucky. That was reckless. Blasted. What was I thinking? At least this time I made it. Wait, who shot? What happened? Who shot me? In the battle. Dang it. How much did we collect? More than last time. Okay, time. Okay, people, time for one or two ghost stories to... Weird. Anyway. Time. My personal, and his one's my personal favorite. Kuchisaki Onna. You heard the legend? Cleft-mouthed woman or slit-mouthed woman is a malevolent figure appearing in Japanese ghost stories, possibly dating back to the Edo period. As a living serial killer, she approaches her victims with seemingly innocuous questions before killing them, usually with a pair of scissors. Yeesh. She is a woman who was mutilated by her husband and returns as a malicious spirit. When rumors of alleged sightings began spreading in 1979 around the Nagasaki prefecture, it spread throughout Japan and caused panic in many towns. There are even reports of schools allowing children to go home only in groups, escorted by teachers for safety, and police increasing their patrols. Recent sightings include many reports in South Korea in 2004 about a woman wearing a red mask who was frequently seen chasing children, and in October 2007, a coroner found some old records from the late 1970s about a woman who was chasing little children. She was then hit by a car and died shortly after. Her mouth was ripped from ear to ear. But you can't kill a spirit. Although some stories describe her as a former patient of a mental asylum, a more common story describes that in the Heian period, her husband found out that she was having an affair with another samurai. He used a sword to cut her mouth from ear to ear and asked, "Who will think you're pretty now?"
According to the original legend, she covers her mouth with a cloth mask, a band, or a scarf. The woman will ask a potential victim, "Am I pretty?" If he or she answers yes, she will remove her mask and ask him or her again in a girly voice. If the potential victim answers yes or screams, she will slash the victim from ear to ear so that the victim resembles her. If he or she answers no, she will walk away only to follow her victim home and brutally murder him or her that night. Said reaction also occurs if you say no before she removes her mask. To avoid this fate, several people during the Edo period claimed that they gave her confusing answers like average or so-so, or threw money or hard candy at her, buying themselves time to run away and lose her. According to modern legend, she walks around wearing a surgical mask. The woman will ask a potential victim, "Am I pretty?" If they answer no, she will kill them with a pair of scissors, which she carries in her pocket. If they answer yes, she will pull away the mask, revealing that her mouth is slit from ear to ear, and asks, "Oh, how about now?" If they answer no, she will cut her unfortunate victim in half. If the person answers yes, then she will slit his or her mouth so it resembles her mouth. It is impossible to run away from her, as she will simply reappear in front of them. When the legend reappeared in the 1970s, rumors of ways to escape also emerged. Some sources say she can also be confused by the victim answering her question with ambiguous answers such as "you are average" or "so-so." Another method is to flip her questions towards her, such as asking her, "Do you think I'm pretty?" Unsure of what to do, she will give a person enough time to escape while she is lost in thought. Another escape route is to tell her one has a previous engagement. She will pardon her manners and excuse herself. In some variations of the tale, she can be distracted by fruits or candies thrown at her, which she will then pick up, thus giving the victim a chance to run. So let's go over this Kuchisake Onna conversation diagram. She asks, "Am I pretty?" If you say no, she kills you with a pair with scissors. If she says yes, she takes off her mask and asks, "How about now?" How about now? If you say no, cut you in half. You say yes, slit your mouth so it appears like hers. And that's according to modern legend. According to her backstory, Kuchisake One, as told commonly, was a beautiful young woman that lived in a village of Japan. She would roam around the village and ask the folks, "Am I pretty?" To which they would reply with an enthusiastic yes. This made her very confident in herself. As she was married to an intelligent samurai, she believed that she would be able to get away with an affair with a noble soldier. Blech. But her husband found out, and in anger asked the soldier, "Why her? Why my lady rather than all other women of the village?" To which he replied, "For she is the most beautiful of the village. I cannot pass up such an opportunity." The samurai adored his honesty and acknowledged that he had the right response and reason. The soldier was poor after all, and had had many positive things occur in his life. Although the soldier had proper intentions, the samurai's wife did not. She was the most beautiful woman of the village, and without that she would be nothing. The samurai angrily took his sword upon her face and slit her mouth from ear to ear, making her no longer beautiful. Soon after, she killed herself and was banished to eternity on avenging her own pain. And Kuchisake Onna appeared in many popular culture. Very, very a lot, actually. Somebody I can hardly count, but I don't have the time. I know she appeared in Carved, the Slit-Mouthed woman, and Carved 2, the Scissors Massacre. It's hard to read Japanese, I swear. But anyway. Next. Since I did 2 battles in a row, I gotta do 2 stories in a row. Kuchisake Onna is very interesting, as a matter of fact. Alright. You probably heard of the saying, "Hell hath no fury like a woman scorned." No one wants to be on the receiving end of one of those. People native to our beloved Ireland are probably familiar with the legend of the Dearg-due. One of the most tragic and frightening cases of a woman scorned. Her legend is still whispered at grave sites. Rocks are still placed over graves in small towns and hamlets because of her. She is a vampire. Not the first, not the last, but threads of her grim tale have been sewn into the fabric of all vampire myths, perhaps even into the most legendary of all, Bram Stoker's Dracula. You know what I mean? Anyway, it goes like this. Arranged marriages were not uncommon in Ireland's past. Centuries ago, in the area that is now Waterford, a young girl with beauty so astounding that men were bestowed with her and women wanted to be her, was happily living day to day and had the love of a farm laborer. They made plans to marry and have children of their own. Her father, however, was not a kind man and cared nothing for love and innocence. Avarice and prosperity were his masters, and his unfortunate daughter his servant. He promised her hand to a wealth and notoriously atrocious clan chieftain in exchange for riches and lands for himself and his remaining offspring. Disgusting. The marriage was arranged on the date for the wedding was set. All the begging in the world from our poor bride to be was not enough to move the cold, empty heart of her father or her betrothed. Disgusting. On the day of the wedding, everyone dressed in their finery, and the bride was a vision of beauty, dressed in red and gold, as all the guests partied through the night. One person sat away from them, all damning her father and vowing to seek revenge on those who had cost her love and life. The chieftain turned out to be far more abusive and controlling than his new wife could ever have imagined. To him, the poor girl was nothing but a trophy to be locked away for his pleasure only, savoring the knowledge she was his and his alone. She was so depressed. She was so depressed, so lonely, and with a complete absence of hope that was simply wasted away, not eating or drinking, just existing. Her life gone long before her body gave in. Her burial was a modest affair. Her husband had taken another wife before she was even cold, and her family was too engrossed in their wealth and their greed to give her a second thought. One man grieved, though, her lost loved. He visited her grave every single day, telling her of his undying love and praying for her return to his arms. Sadly, his love was not the driving force for her resurrection. Revenge was the force that pulled her from her grave on the first anniversary of her death. Consumed with anger and the need for retribution, she climbed from her coffin and headed straight to her childhood home. As her father lay sleeping, she touched her lips to his and sucked the life out of him. Revenge not yet sated, she called upon her callous husband, finding him surrounded by women, fulfilling his lustful desires, obviously to the dead bride in the room. In a furious rage, she launched on the chieftain, sending the women screaming. His former wife was so full of fury and fire that she not only drew every breath but drained every ounce of blood from his twisted and cruel body. Scarlet liquid surging through her, she felt more alive than she had ever been, and she had a hunger for blood that could not be sated. So eager to satisfy the impossible, the love who had wished her back to life was forgotten, and such was his good fortune for her, for what would have been another victim of her bloodlust. Sad, isn't it? Our corpse bride used her beauty to prey on young men, luring them to their demise with seduction, the promise of her body, their reward. Instead, she sank her teeth into their exposed necks and drank their blood to quench her thirst and desire. But it was never enough. The warm red elixir of life gave her strength and immortality, and she hungered for her next quarry. The remains of the Dearg-due, also called the Dearg-due, are buried in Waterford in the place known as Strongbow's Tree. Her lustful yearning can only be satisfied on the day she died. So on the eve of her anniversary, locals gather and position rocks upon her grave so that she will not rise and take the blood of the innocent. Sometimes, though, the rocks are displaced, forgotten, or her insatiable desire is stronger than any stone could ever be, and she walks into the night. Ill-fated men fall victim to the beauty and bloodlust of the Dearg-due. It's kind of sad when you think about it, right? But anyway,
Next battle. Dearg-due. Got you stuck with something. If that urban legend is turned out to be true, we're in trouble. Listen. Alright, tankers, let's tank on and roll out. Where's everybody? Stick it together. This one. I hate those things. Oh!
time to get into war. Time for another ghost story.
In just a second. What was that? I heard something outside. Like grass, or it's right, a pot breaking. Yeah, I heard you. I hear you. As soon as I finish this, I'll go check out what that sound was. I'll be right back. I'll be right back, folks. Just want to be sure to know that nothing's happening. Okay, be right back, folks. I'm back. Whatever made that sound, it's gone. Gone now. And I brought my dog Digger in with me. Hi, Digger. Who's a good boy? Okay. The next legend is about. The next servant story is about the Krasu, known as Amp in Cambodia and as Kasu in Laos. It's a nocturnal female spirit of Southeast Asian folklore. It manifests itself as a woman, usually young and beautiful, with their internal organs hanging down from her neck, trailing below the head. According to the Thai ethnographer Pyro Rajadon, can't pronounce it very well, the Krasu consists of a floating head accompanied by a will o' the wisp kind of luminescent glow. The explanations attempted about the origin of the glow, including the presence of methane in the marshy areas. The Krasu is often said to live in the same areas as Krohang, a male spirit of the Thai folklore. This spirit moves about by hovering in the air above the ground, for it has no lower body. The throat may be represented in different ways, either as only the trachea or with the whole neck. The organs below the head usually include the heart and the stomach,
with the length of an intestine, intestinal tract, emphasizing the ghost's voracious nature in recent movie Cressu Valentine. Huh. Didn't realize that. Made a movie about the Cressu. I never realized that. Anyway, where was I? This ghost is represented with more internal organs such as lungs and liver, but much reduced in size and anatomically out of proportion with the head. The viscera are sometimes represented fleshy taboo with blood as well as glowing in contemporary representations. Her teeth often include pointed fangs in yaka or vampire fashion. In the movie Ghosts of Guts Eater, she has a halo around her head. I guess that's the thing that, angels wear. Cressu has been the subject of a number of movies in the region, including My Mother is Arb, also known as Cressu Mom. This Cambodian horror film has a distinction of being the first movie made in the People's Republic of Kampuchea. And at least the legend still lived on. They really after the absence of locally made movies and the repression of local folklore in Cambodia during the Khmer Rouge era. The Cressu is also found in popular mythology in Malaysia, where it is called the Penagala or Hantu Penang, and also in Indonesia, where it has many names such as Liak, Palasik, Selago, Medamin, Kayon, Popo, and Paracane. Sorry, I have trouble pronouncing those. This spirit is also part of Vietnamese folklore as Mai, Lai Vi, the minority ethnic groups of Vietnam's Central Highlands. In the Philippines, there is a similar ghost, Manananggal, a local spirit that haunts pregnant women. And there have been looks like there's been sightings of her. I could go on. I could tell you about this, but I'm kind of running out of time. So if you want to look up more about the Cressu, then go online to mainly Wikipedia. Alright. I'm gonna go on with this next one. El Silbón, the Whistler. It's a legendary figure in Venezuela associated especially with Las Lalón. Described as a lost soul, the legend arose sometime in the middle of the 19th century. According to the legend, the spirit is a youth who murdered and disemboweled his father for killing his wife, saying that she was a slut and that she was asking for it. Afterwards, his grandfather ordered the youth to be tied to a post in the middle of a countryside and lashed him until his back was destroyed. His wounds were then cleaned with alcohol, and he was released with two rabid, starving dogs set upon him. Before releasing him, his grandfather condemned him to carry the bones of his father for all eternity. It has a characteristic whistle that resembles the musical notes C, D, E, F, G, A, B in that order, rising in tone to F, then lowering to B. It is said that when the whistling sounds close, there is no danger, and the whistler is far away. But when the whistling sounds distant, it means it is nearby. It is also said that hearing the whistling foretells your own death, and you can hear it anywhere at any time. In this situation, the only thing that can save you is the sound of a dog barking, as it is the only thing it is afraid of. A chili or a whip. The spirit tends to take revenge on womanizers. La Legenda. Many inhabitants of Los Llanos say that they have seen it, primarily in the summer, a time when the Venezuelan savanna burns in the harsh drought. The whistler sits in the tree and gathers dust in his hands, but it is mainly on rainy or humid days that the spirit wanders, hungry for death and eager to punish drunkards, womanizers, or sometimes innocent victims. That last part's messed up. It is said that it sucks the alcohol out of the drunkards through their navel when it finds them alone, and that it tears womanizers to pieces, removes their bones, and puts them in the sack where it keeps the remains of his father. Some versions say it appears as a giant about 6 meters, that moves around about the treetops, creaking and emitting its chilling whistle. Inside its old and tattered sack lie the bones of his father, or according to some renditions, its multiple victims. Other versions say that he appears as a shadow or a tall, thin man with a hat, and goes after drunkards most of all. They say that the whistler can appear by a house or on certain nights, drop his sack on the ground, and count the bones one by one. If anyone hears it, nothing will happen. But if no one hears it before dawn, one member of the family will never wake up again. Time to get back to the battle. Someone doing two.
tank on and roll out. Strength in numbers. Don't try this at home, kids. Oh wait, never mind. Here we go. Woke him up. This. There! No! Dang it! Lost them all. Dang it. I'm dead. Yep. Blast it! I'm going down. Got his attention. Oh, come on. Gotcha. What the heck? Where'd that? Oh, crap. Not again. That's 3 times! Don't flip over on me. Ew! I guess it's got these tanks got a self-righting mechanism. That was close. There's one. Couple. I haven't even fucking. No, there. Yeah, I was right. I am not dying. Four total. Bummer. Battle. 174. Battle instead of 1,000. I gotta tell you this, Snarl. You should check that out. Got some good ghost stories. Some urban legends. I don't know. Some I don't know if they're fiction, but some are definitely true. I know that. You should go check her out. All right, tankers, let's tank on and roll off for the final time tonight.
gotta find. Try that at home, kids. Leave that only to the professionals. Got it. Thank you. Some people, I just wonder if the paranormal is real. Why can't science and religion work together? And I know I shouldn't be talking about this, but midterm election is coming up. November 6th, this Tuesday. So don't forget to vote. What the heck was that? Stay alive! This tank's so fast I have trouble it at top speed. Hey! End of battle. Level up to level 2. That was great. Too bad it's over now. Today, Halloween's almost done. And the last ghost story that I wanted to tell you was about the White Death. But probably a good thing. Probably a good thing I don't tell you anyway. The White Death is a creepy story about a vengeful spirit in Mexico who hunts down anyone who knows about her existence. So if I told the story to you, you would know about her existence and that would make you a target. Like me. There's also plenty of horror films you should watch. Like, go to watchmojo.com and they'll tell you what kind of horror films you should watch for Halloween. Well, Halloween's almost over. Next year. That's better. I know that was a great battle. But I know this. If you want to join me, if you want to join and fight too, then go to worldoftanks.com and download the game. But anyway, it's almost time. Thanks for watching this live video. Now don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and leave a comment down below. And ask me if I should do more videos like this. But until then, let's tank on and roll out onto the battlefield of World of Tanks. See you there. Before I forget, happy Halloween to all, and to all, a good fright. Bye. Bye.